Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You're right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya. Haribo, 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 Nichai go, Haribo, Nichai go, Haribo. Nichai go, Haribo, 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 Nichai go, Haribo, Nichai go, Haribo, Haribo. Go Premanandi, Haribo, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Go Premanandi, Radha Gokulananda, Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman, Shakur, Anitai ki. Jai. Thank you for playing drum. Thank you so much. Thanks, brother. Thank you. That's it. Hare Krishna. So we're on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We're reading from the 15th chapter. And we'll just recite the invocation mantra in call and response. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, we just recite the Sanskrit word for word. Ajas charivan prastatasya shakha. Guna pravijya vishya pravala. Abhyascha mulani anusantatani. Karmanubandhini manasyu loke. Ajas chadvam prastastasya shakya. Guna pavrijya vishaya pravyala. Achascha mulani as anusantitani. Karma bandhani manasya loke. Does anyone want to recite the Sanskrit? Ajas charitvam prascha tasya sakya. Guna pravijya vishaya pravala. Ajas chamulani anusantani. 15-2. Kamana bandhani manashu loke. Okay. So we'll do word for word. We're in call and response. Haja, downward. Cha, and. Ududvam, upward. Prasthita, extended. Tasya, its. Sakya, branches. Guna, by the modes of material nature. Pravrijya, developed. Vishaya, sense objects. Pravila, twigs. Ajaha, downward. Cha, and. Mulani, roots. Anusantantani, extended. Karma, to work. Anubandhubani, bound. Manashuloki, in the world of human society. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the free modes of material nature. The twigs are the object of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The description of the banyan tree is further explained here. Its branches spread in all directions. In the lower parts, there are variegated manifestations of living entities, human beings, animals, horses, cows, dogs, cats, etc. These are situated on the lower parts of the branches, whereas on the upper parts are higher forms of living entities, the demigods, the Gandharvas, and many other higher species of life. As a tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the free modes of material nature. Sometimes we find that a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water, and sometimes a tract of land is very green. Similarly, where particular modes of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of life are manifested accordingly. The twigs of the tree are considered to be the sense objects. By development of the different modes of nature, we develop different senses, and by the senses we enjoy different varieties of sense objects. The tips of the branches are the senses, the ears, the nose, the eyes, etc., which are attached to the enjoyment of different sense objects. The twigs are sound, form, touch, and so on. The sense objects. The subsidiary roots are attachment and aversion, which are byproducts of different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. The tendencies towards piety and impiety are considered to develop from these secondary roots, which spread in all directions. The real root is from Brahmaloka, and the other roots are in the human planetary systems. After one enjoys the results of virtuous activities in the upper planetary systems, he comes down to this earth and renews his karma or fruitive activities for promotion. This planet of human beings is considered the field of activities. The branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards, nourished by the free modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. The tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Om Magina Tulvandasha Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militamina Tasmai Shri Veda Maha Namam Vishnu Krishna Staya Bhutali Shimate Shivaram Swami Chinamani Namam Vishnu Pradaya Krishna Staya Bhutali Shimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Chinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvani Charane Nimishesha Sadhvani Krishna Chaya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shavasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. So we're reading from now the 15th chapter, entitled Yoga of the Supreme Person. As we understand, when you read the Bhagavad Gita, the introduction at the beginning, it starts with just going over these 5 subject matters, these main 5 subject matters, which is the first is the jiva, the living entity, the spirit soul. Then there's prakriti. Prakriti is material nature, Krishna's material nature. Then there's kala. Kala is time. And Ishwara, the Supreme Lord. Ishwara. These 4 are eternal. And there's one, which is also the last one, is karma, which is temporary. Karma is temporary. So these are the 5 main subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. And I was just seeing that we're on these last chapters. We're in the 15th chapter, Yoga, the Supreme Person, and it's actually these last chapters are quite. Sometimes people don't read this far in Bhagavad Gita. These last 6 chapters, because they go in 3 parts, really. The Bhagavad Gita, as the first part is like the Sambandha, the establishing a relationship with Krishna, like Sambandha, through karma, yoga, using all your activities in Krishna's service. And it's been set so in the center of the Bhagavad Gita, as we get to the end of the 6th chapter, from the 7th chapter to the end of the 12th, that's the bhakti. It's actually giving us the prayojan, the goal. So for us little jivas that are, conditioned souls, it's good for us to obviously start in Krishna consciousness, and then the way that Krishna's given the Bhagavad Gita is he's given before he gives the process, he gives you the goal right in the center. But the last 6 chapters is the process, the gyan, the abhideya, the work we need to work on purification and the relationship with us and Krishna. So this last, so the previous, as we got to the 13th chapter, that was the nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. And then we've got to the 14th chapter, which was the previous chapter, the 3 modes of material nature. And the 3 modes of nature, Srila Prabhupada is giving us, very fortunate, he's given us the purports to understand what the translation is explaining. And basically, in the 3 modes of nature, it's like they're like 3 ropes, the gunas, the sattva gun, rajagun, and tamagun, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And these modes of nature, there's nothing outside the innumerable universes. Actually, outside the innumerable universes, of course, there's a spiritual world, but everything inside the innumerable universes is the 3 modes of nature. They're the underlying rhythm of this material world. And that's our. They're like shackles. They're like, in a way, they bind us to this world. And that's what the 14th chapter is explaining. That how you've come into this world, how you've been bound up, and also how to get back out, how to get released back to Krishna through even transcending the modes of material nature. Because one needs to come to more sattva-gun, mode of goodness, to cultivate real Visuddha-sattva, to actually enter into spiritual life more clearly. Sattva-gun means, the samadhamma-tapasa, peacefulness, truthfulness, and tolerance, dare I say it, and many things, and things that actually devotional service itself. It's not that you have to get to sattva-gun before you do devotional service, of course, because Srila Prabhupada has given us the process of Bhakti Yoga, where you can chant and hear and do your service for Krishna. You become purified as well. It's a purificational process. And they're all in the mode of goodness and beyond the mode of goodness anyway. So you cultivate the mode of, to come to the spiritual platform. But we do need to cultivate the mode of goodness. It means like rising early in the morning if possible, and keeping clean, bathing, speaking truth and also reciting scriptures and chanting the holy name. So that was the 14th chapter, and then now we're on the 15th chapter. Obviously 14, after 14 comes 15. And basically the 15th chapter, the first text that explains about the banyan tree, Krishna gives an example. Prabhupada in his purport, he says this material world is like a banyan tree, but upside down banyan tree. Its roots are upwards and its branches are going downwards. And the thing is that the banyan tree is actually, it's an amazing part of God's creation, because they're the biggest trees in the world. Actually, I think the largest tree is in India. Actually, the largest banyan tree. But the thing is with the banyan trees, when they grow, their roots, their branches go into the ground, and then they have another root, and it grows up again like another tree. And the thing is, you can't trace the original. Sometimes they're so big you can't trace the original trunk. And this banyan tree is an example of the material world, because it's actually it's hard to get out of the forest of the banyan tree when you got a banyan tree, and it's hard to find where you are actually in the material world. It's hard to understand where you're what the cause is, where it came from, and why you're here, and it's like being stuck in a very difficult situation. So, and not only that, because it's a reflection. Prabhupada gives the example. It's like this material world. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Gauranitai Hare Krishna, and gives the example that when you look into the water on the side of a river, you see the reflection of the tree, and but that's not the real situation. If you jump in the water to try and find a tree or get the fruit, you become very wet and disappointed. And that's the nature of the material world. Is of course there's happiness and some kind of there's some joy there, but the real joy is to use it in the service of God. Ultimately, everything should be used in Krishna's service. So that's one of the main messages of Bhagavad Gita. Actually, is there's a nice verse in chapter 9, text 27, that whatever you do, whatever you offer, or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering for me. Krishna explains, do that for me. Do that. Everything you do it to give back to Krishna, because actually everything belongs to Krishna anyway. Ishwara Shamidam Sarvam Yakinchat Jagatam Jagat Tena Tena Punjata Magriha Kishaswitanam. Everything animate and inanimate in this material world is controlled and owned by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one shouldn't really take anything that doesn't belong to Him, knowing well to whom it belongs. So, we have our quotas. We don't really need to. We should work, of course, in the world, but not work too hard on mundane profit. Our real work is actually on our relationship with Krishna. That's the real. What they say, that's the investment in the bank balance, is our efforts each day to try and surrender and actually serve Krishna through Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, through hearing about Him, chanting His names, and remembering the Lord, and serving Him with devotion. So this is what the Bhagavad Gita is also obviously giving us this message. Yeah. So this 15th chapter is talking about this banyan tree, and it's just difficult to get out of. There's no way out of it. But if one surrenders more to Krishna, if one calls upon Him, so that's why when we chant Hare Krishna, God's names, because the Lord in His name are non-different, Krishna in His name are non-different. Hallowed be Thy name, it's there in the Lord's Prayer. in the Christianity even, and because the only thing you really have actually is to call out for the Lord. It's asking for help as well, because we are in a helpless condition. We're in a helpless condition. And it's quite good situation. As the way the planets go and the wheels turn of samsara, kala, chakras, time's there turning, and we're going through a difficulty. Even on a mass geographical scale now, maybe the planets are sort of, the dark planets are more prominent. It says that in the Bhagavatam, when the malefics are prominent, then the living entities going through difficulties more, and then like Saturn's in its own sign, it's in Aquarius, and some of these historic planets are quite strong, so they're just doing their job, because and they're creating quite a difficult atmosphere in the world. And everything's controlled ultimately by Krishna. And this is a good time now, because it reminds us what the true nature of the world is. Not that we want to be pessimistic or callous, but there's, not in a negative sense, but it's pretty temporary, and we're pretty temporary. And it's the Prabhupada explains, make the best use of the bad bargain. This human body, this human form of life that is very rare. It's very rare throughout all these different species, because it talks about in this banyan tree, like the leaves of the Vedic hymns, the branches are different forms of life, and the living entities hopping on different branches, and he's going through different species, many different species, 8,400,000 different species of life, 430 different species of human beings. But Prabhupada explains, in this human form of life, make good use, make this, because it's a rare species, the human being, the actual human being, what we are. It's he has a chance for God consciousness. It's very important. It's to use this human form of life to inquiry. It's difficult to continuously keep in that mindset, but that's why we have the chanting and the process, the abhideya, as these last 6 chapters, the groundwork. It can be a little bit difficult sometimes, but through good association of devotees, that will lift us, the good association. Association is everything, especially for us conditioned souls. May I speak for myself? We're who we associate, we become. Whatever we associate with, we quickly get a little bit, we might not think, but it starts to gradually cover us. The material energy is very strong. Devi he saguna maye mama maya tarantaya mamivya papanyante mayami tam tarantate. Krishna explains this divine energy of mine, consistent of the 3 modes of material nature. It's difficult to overcome, very difficult, but for one who surrenders unto me will cross beyond without fail. So we were trying to chant and remember the Lord. And it's not an easy process. It's the best process. And sometimes at the start it's easier. Krishna gives you a taste, and it's not that it's hard. It gets a little difficult. The tests will come because something's so valuable. The greatest treasure is not going to be cheap. It takes a bit of digging, a bit of sweat, maybe a bit of blood, sweat, and tears. But if we see our situation in this world, the Acharyas explain, we've got so much previous karma and things waiting to manifest, so much. It's just all these material entanglements. And but the way to gradually come out, the quickest way, Prabhupada explains, and the best way is to chant God's names. And Kirtanya Sada Hari, always chant the holy name of the Lord. And association with devotees, be with those who chant. Try to rise up, follow the process if you can, rise up in the morning. We may not feel like it. Sometimes we have our lay-in, but then when we're up, we've got to do our work, but make sure we get our rounds in. As they say, get your hand in your bead bag. It's your protection. It's really Tulsi Maharani, it's our... Krishna sees you trying. We might not be very good, I speak for myself, crawling along, but the Lord is very merciful. He's not looking at the result because he's in charge of the results, but Krishna says you should endeavor. 247, the result doesn't belong to you, just whatever you endeavor. I see your endeavor, not I'll I'll be in charge of the results. I can't remember the exact, but that's what it says round about that verse. But yeah, we can't control what we're going to get out of anything. But if Krishna sees us trying, that means a lot, because we're young babies. We're babies. We were compared to Krishna, or compared to real spiritual knowledge. I speak for myself. We were very young. It doesn't take much to ruffle us up. It doesn't take much to blow us off the boat or fall overboard. And as my old temple president used to say, all you got to do is scratch the surface, and you get to see what you're really like. Anyway, but it doesn't take much. But our good hope, and that confirms what situation we are in, quite a precarious situation. Not that we have to be dismal or too self-sorry, but that should give us more enthusiasm to fight. Because in a lot of these verses, especially in the chapter 4, the end, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, get up and fight. Doesn't mean we have to fight with our fists, but we can't do much there. But fight with our determination. Our determination. Kill this demon of doubt, Madhusudan. And step up. And pray and go in and try and make that effort to come into that association of devotees, and be a part of Krishna's plan. That's when life starts to get easier. Is when I tell this to myself, and we always forget it. I always forget it, but we make so many of our own plans, but we got to try and remember what Krishna's plan is, because his plan is always the ultimate one. And then if our plans go more in line with Krishna's, then life becomes a lot more pleasurable. Of course, it's a lot more easier, and not that we want it to. Well, we do want life more easy, but it will never be too easy. But it's a process, and but it's fun. It's fun. That's actually Arjuna says that to Krishna at one point on the battlefield. He says, "How long have I got to go on for this? How long should I?" Because Arjuna, he's on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This is a world war, 640 million soldiers. 48 miles on one side and about 26 miles on the other side. 7 to 11 Ashwini flanks of warriors, and then you've got millions of backup as well. They're so gentlemen, so dharmic. They don't take it into the city and kill all the innocent. They take it miles out on the field, proper battle, face to face, and it's a religious war. And Arjuna, he's a kshatriya. He's fighting for pure good cause. And Krishna puts him to the most difficult situation. Arjuna looks over, and Arjuna looks over, and he says, "Whoa!" He says, "Krishna, can you take me drive that chariot up there, please?" So as we see Krishna being so merciful, he even becomes a servant of his devotee. He's a chariot driver. Arjuna's sort of not kicking him, but stamping his foot on the chariot means go forward. So Krishna goes forward to observe the armies, and as Arjuna looks across, he sees his kinsmen, he sees his cousins, his grandfathers, his uncles, his gurus. And because Arjuna's an eternal associate of Krishna, he's obviously a Nitya Siddha, he's liberated. But in this situation, Krishna covers Arjuna by his yoga maya as an eternal potency, and Arjuna becomes a common man almost. He becomes forgetful. And that's what makes him say to Krishna, how long do I have to do this for? How long should we go like this? And Krishna sort of says in so many words, till you drop down dead, you push on. That's your duty as a conditioned soul. I'll tell you when you're ready. I'll give you the result. You're in charge of your endeavor. You have your free will. You choose. I'm giving you the knowledge. Now you take it. And that's what he says in chapter 1863. I've given you this knowledge, and now you do as you will. So Arjuna becomes quite wise. He becomes very... by his great example, of course, his beautiful example, and through Krishna's mercy, and he says, I love this verse, it's 2:7, right? I don't know if anyone knows the Sanskrit. I'm not going to say the Sanskrit, I'm just going to go for probably a few you may know this verse, but this is our situation. And I say to myself, this is seriously your situation, and don't forget it. But I'll just say what the verse is. Now I am confused about my duty, and have lost all composure. because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. 2:7. Very nice verse. I've got it printed in big letters. I've got it in a little folder, but I think I'm going to put it on the wall. But so this is the real goal. To get out of this banyan tree of the material world, we do need the main thing is association, devotees, and also the spiritual master, the guru, whether it's a shiksha guru, a senior devotee that can direct us, that we have a relationship with. We can inquire submissively. That's very important. Or, ultimately a initiating spiritual master. So, it explains that the banyan tree's got the higher branches, the lower branches, like the free, the middle branches, upper, lower, middle, like the free worlds. The devas, the demigods are there up in the higher planetary systems. They say the way you can recognize a demigod is he doesn't blink. His feet doesn't touch the ground, and he has a flower garland that never wilts. Except they do say that the flower garland does wilt at the last moments of when they leave the heavenly planets, when they so-called fall. They say when you fall from the heavenly planets, then you can fall to earth. They fall in the raindrops to the earth, into the ground. And that's how it goes. And as you're falling away from the heavenly planets, as much enjoyment as you got there, because it's so enjoying. The heavenly planets has so much enjoyment. It's hard to think about spirituality sometimes, even though they're all very pious, God conscious, but it's hard for them to fully surrender because they got so much opulence and enjoyment. But they are devotees. And then on the lower planets, on the hellish planets, it's so painful down there. It's hard to think of God. You just got to go through your suffering in your subtle body. You get your payback time down there, of course. But in the human form, on the karma stand, the place of karma, the place of action, and it explains about the animals as well. But the cats and the dogs and the cows and that. But the animals don't incur karma because they're going through the cycle. They're going through the cycle of species. But humans, because they have that fine-tuning on the software, as we say, we have that buddhi, that intelligence. Krishna, we start to understand atata brahma jigyasa. We have the process of inquiry. We can come to the point of controlling the senses enough to inquire, because animals can't overcome their senses. As we give, they could say an elephant has the biggest ears, but he can't hear much Bhagavatam. If you try to talk Bhagavatam to him, he might not like it. He might not won't understand. And like a dog, he may see another dog across the road, but if there's cars running, he'll be so locked onto that. Sometimes they run across and the car hits them. But a human, even in some of the worst states, they can sort of make a better decision to save their life. A human being has the capacity to inquire. And he also has, and that's why he's certainly liable for all his actions in this world. We're very liable for everything. Human form of life is big responsibility. And I don't want to talk above my station. I'm talking by some realization. I'm just starting to really understand it now, how responsible the human form of life is. Because at the time of death, whatever you think, whatever state of mind you're in, that state you attain without fail. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tejate namanantakevaram. Whatever you're thinking at the time of death, that's where you go to. And there's a lot in between it as well. And Prabhupada says it takes average for 3 months to reincarnate. Our goal is not to reincarnate, though. It's too risky, right? You don't want to keep coming around samsara chakra in the material world. You might go down again. They say, because it explains about the banyan tree, the main branch is Brahma Loka. Because it explains in the Vedas, we were all once Lord Brahmas as well. We've all been Brahmas. Think how many Brahmas there are. If innumerable living entities have all been Lord Brahma, but we've fallen, we've gone down. We've probably, to come to the human form of life, we might have gone past it. We might be on our way back up now. Anyway, we don't need to get into past life regression. But it's a very, as I back to that point of emphasizing how important this human form of life should be used in the service of Krishna. And every day chanting, hearing, and trying to associate with devotees and honouring prasadam, eating our food that's offered to Krishna, association with devotees, chant the holy name, try to come to the temple if possible, see the form of the Lord, the personal form of Krishna, the deity. And Prabhupada said this is not just, the deity is alive, the deity is Krishna. Krishna can reside in any. He said the deity in one day it was so beautiful. He said that's actually Krishna pretending to be a deity in one of the temples. I won't say which temple, so we need to see the form of the Lord, because we're very impersonal in our nature in different ways. We're very impersonal. We like to do our own thing, be independent, think we're the Prakriti Kriyamanani Guna Kamana Sarvasya. It's a subtle disease that keeps us here in the material world, thinking we're the controllers and we're in charge of everything. But as soon as we start getting things going, we slip, and then we trip, and then we feel the bang. And as Krishna's mercy in the form of Maya reminding us that we're actually very incapable. We're just small sparks. Mamamsa jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana manasa sistriyani prakrtistani karshate. We're fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and we're struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. We're in a right old mess. But the good news is that we got a chance to come to Krishna consciousness. And we've got 5 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to ask? Have a think if you want. You can ask something related with a verse. Or, so, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
You said about demigods and heavenly planets. So those heavenly planets used to, I guess, have the conduct of Earth and liberate.
Yes.
You can't get liberation.
Yeah, so you're asking about the demigods and heavenly planets. Can they get liberation from there, go upwards instead of coming down?
7 upwards, 7 down. So.
Yeah. Now, there is a possibility of going, there's always a possibility from wherever you are going upwards, but it's very minute up on the heavenly planets. It's a bit of it's a thin window. It's because they say the demigods are queuing up to come down to Karmastan. Sunyi punyi macham lokam vishanti. After they've exhausted their godly delights, they fall again to this earthly plane. Bhagavad Gita 9:20. Because it's just so hard to really get into full-on surrender to God consciousness, because it's just too much opulence. It's just overwhelming for the jiva. They're still the same jivas like we, but they're being a different body. And so what they do, they queue up at the end of life. They like to come back down to the earth. They may come, through the raindrops into the soil. Then the devotees, the plants grow, the crops, they eat that, and the man, then it goes through his body. If he chants the Garbhadan Samskar, it's all done through a purification process. Krishna's inconceivable potency, that those sometimes demigods are born in a family of devotees or very pious. Explains about that in 6th chapter, 642, 643. If you've been practicing yoga for a short time in a previous life, you might get born in a family of, rich or aristocratics, educated people. But if you've been practicing yoga for a long time in your previous life, you get born into the family of devotees like your last life, and that could be that's a very rare birth. But the demigods, they certainly They say, Prabhupada said, they're queuing up to come down to this earth, to take a human form. I don't know if that helps. Or, thanks for that. Okay, thanks for asking anyway. It's still temporary, It's Lord Brahma, even Lord Brahma has to give up his body at a certain point. But luckily, in our universe, Lord Brahma's a great devotee. Our Lord Brahma, 52 years old. They've calculated it through the Vedic scriptures, and He's born in March time, something like that. He calculated a lot of things, 52 years, point something. And he's just coming to the end of his day at the moment, because his day is 12 hours, his night is 12 hours. And it's very... we'll end there. Entourage Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Go Premanandi, Go.
Shri Radha Gokulanand ki Jai, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Gauranitai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Keep a Jaya